The silence of deep space had never bothered Nadia Petrov during her 3 years as a solo reconnaissance pilot. Today was different. Something pulsed against her consciousness, faint but persistent, like a heartbeat heard underwater. "Station Echo, this is Surveyor 7, she reported into her COM. "Completing final orbit of Europa sector. Nothing unusual to report?" She hesitated, finger hovering over the transmission button. Mentioning the strange sensation would trigger protocols. Extension of her mission, endless debriefings. The pulse strengthened. Not a mechanical signal, something organic, desperate. Nadia checked her navigation system and noted an unmarked asteroid drifting at the edge of her sector. Not on any charts. "Surveyor 7, cleared for return trajectory. Transmitting coordinates now," Nadia acknowledged, but adjusted her course toward the asteroid. Just a quick look. Her small craft landed on the cratered surface with minimal thrusters. The pulse became a voice in her mind, wordless. But clear in its desperation, she secured her helmet and stepped onto the asteroid's surface. The gravity was minimal, but sufficient to walk with magnetic boots. Following the mental signal, she discovered an entrance carved into rock artificial, geometric, definitely not natural formation. The passage led deeper, illuminated by bioluminescent markings. The air was breathable according to her sensors, but Nadia kept her helmet on. The mental voice grew stronger, guiding her through branching tunnels until she reached a chamber where something moved in the shadows. "Hello," she called, activating her suit lights. "I'm not here to harm you." The figure flinched from the light humanoid, but clearly not human. Tall, with iridescent blue skin that seemed to shimmer with internal light, silver eyes reflected her lights. Most shocking were the neural interfaces embedded along his temples and spine. Connected to the chamber walls by glowing filaments, "They've gone temporarily," the figure spoke directly into her mind. "But they'll return soon. Please," Nadia approached cautiously. "Who are you? Who did this?" "I am Talon. My people are Lumari. The Vex take us for our abilities." His mental voice was melodic, almost musical in her thoughts. "If you free me now, we have perhaps 14 minutes before their return." She hesitated only momentarily before pulling tools from her belt. The neural connections required careful disconnection. Her fingers working delicately as Talon guided her through his telepathic abilities. "Why should I trust you?" she asked, working on the final connection. Talon's silver eyes met hers through her visor. "Because you already do. You heard me across void and stars. We are ... compatible. Rare between species." The final connection severed. Talon stumbled forward into her arms, surprisingly light in the low gravity. His skin radiated warmth against her suit, and something fluttered in her mind, gratitude, relief, and something more complex. "We must go," he whispered, this time aloud, his voice carrying the same musical quality as his thoughts. "They value me too highly to lose." As they rushed back toward her ship, alarms began blaring throughout the asteroid. Nadia felt Talon's fear spike through their newfound connection, but also his determination. "Can you fly?" she asked as they reached her craft. "With you," he answered, "I can do anything." Flight through shadows, the Vex pursuit ships emerged from hyperspace as Nadia's vessel cleared the asteroid's gravity well. 3 predatory craft, their hulls bristling with weapon systems unlike anything in Earth's arsenal. "They're faster," Talon warned, his mental voice tense as his fingers moved over her navigation console with surprising familiarity. "But the asteroid field ahead? They won't risk damage to pursue at full speed." Nadia nodded, understanding his strategy instantly thanks to their strengthening telepathic link. She piloted the ship into the dense cluster of rocks, relying on instinct and Talon's occasional mental nudge to navigate the treacherous terrain. A blast from the lead Vex ship grazed their port side, sending systems into emergency shutdown. Warning lights bathed the cabin in crimson. "Life support compromised," the computer announced. "Recommend immediate evacuation protocol." There, Talon pointed toward a massive structure half embedded in one of the larger asteroids. "Old mining station. Abandoned after the resource wars." Nadia guided their damaged vessel into a docking bay that opened reluctantly after. Talon transmitted a series of codes mentally to the station's ancient systems. The Vex ships circled at a distance, unwilling to enter the station's defensive perimeter but clearly not abandoning their quarry. "They'll wait," Talon said as they secured the airlock. "Patience is their evolutionary advantage." Inside the station was a ghost of human expansion, empty corridors and darkened chambers with equipment half dismantled by scavengers. They found the engineering level where Nadia could assess damage to their ship. 3 days for essential repairs, she concluded, wiping grime from her hands. Life support will hold if we limit ourselves to 2 chambers. That night, they huddled in what had once been the station commander's quarters, sharing a meal from Nadia's emergency rations. The room's single porthole revealed the Vex ships still circling like patient predators. "Why do they want you so badly?" she asked, Talon's silver eyes dimmed slightly. "My people develop unique telepathic signatures like fingerprints. Mine allows decryption of security systems. They used me to breach your military networks." "You help them attack humans?" Nadia pulled away. "Under duress and drugs," he explained, his mental voice carrying impressions of pain that made her wince. "I sabotaged what I could. That's why they had increased the neural suppressors when you found me." The temperature in the station dropped as power cycled to essential systems only. Nadia shivered despite her thermal gear. Here, Talon moved closer, his body radiating heat. Lumori regulate body temperature at will. She hesitated before allowing him to wrap his arms around her. The moment they touched, their mental connection deepened dramatically. Images flooded between them, her childhood in Moscow, his youth among crystal spires of the Lumari homeworld. "I'm sorry," he whispered, withdrawing slightly. "The connection is stronger than I expected." "No," Nadia found herself pulling him back. "Show me more." Their minds entangled further as the cold night progressed, sharing memories, desires, and sensations that transcended physical touch. By morning, Nadia understood Talon more intimately than anyone she'd known before, and the realization both thrilled and terrified her. "We should reach Ganymede," she said as they resumed repairs. "My friend Darius runs the outpost there. He'll help us without reporting to Earth Command." "You would risk your career for me?" Talon asked, though his mind had already glimpsed her answer. Nadia's hand found his, blue skin against her tan complexion. "I think we both know I'm risking far more than that." Ganymede's outpost sprawled across the moon's equator, a series of interconnected domes glittering beneath Jupiter's imposing presence. Nadia transmitted emergency landing codes as they approached. Praying Darius still monitored his private frequency. "Surveyor 7. You're cleared for emergency docking bay 3, came the response. "Medical teams standing by." Nadia, what the hell happened out there? She glanced at Talon, who had modified his appearance using a holoprojector to appear human. "Complicated story, old friend. Discretion required." Darius Wells waited at the airlock, his imposing frame filling the corridor. His eyes narrowed at Talon's disguised form, but he embraced Nadia warmly. 3 years without contact and you show up with hull damage and mysterious cargo. Some things never change. The outpost's minimal security allowed them to reach Darius's private quarters without scrutiny. Once inside, Talon disabled the holoprojector, revealing his true form. "Well," Darius whistled low. "That explains the discretion." Nadia explained their situation while Darius listened intently, his expression shifting from skepticism to concern. "The Vex have never ventured this close to Jupiter before. And if they're tracking you—" "They are," Talon confirmed. "My neural signature leaves traces. I can mask it temporarily, but eventually they'll find us." Darius scratched his beard thoughtfully. "I need to show you something." He led them through a hidden passage behind his bookshelf, revealing an elevator that descended deep below Ganymede's surface. "Welcome to Project Telepath," he announced as they entered a vast laboratory complex. Scientists worked at various stations, monitoring subjects in isolation chambers. Earth's response to rumors of telepathic species. "We've been studying the phenomenon for decades." Nadia felt Talon's mental recoil. "You're experimenting on people?" Volunteers with latent abilities, Darius clarified. After first contact with the Kelvin ambassadors, Earth realized we needed countermeasures against telepathic intrusion. Talon's mind brushed against Nadia's, sharing his unease. This facility mirrored Vex technology too closely for coincidence. That night in guest quarters, Nadia confronted him. "You're hiding something." Talon sighed, silver eyes reflecting starlight from their viewport. "The technology here isn't developed independently. It's reverse-engineered from Vex designs." "How could you know that?" He took her hands, initiating deeper contact. "Because I recognize my own work." The memories flooded her consciousness, Alan forced to develop neural interfaces. His innovations adapted by his captors, then stolen by human operatives. "Earth didn't develop telepathic defenses," she whispered. "They're developing telepathic weapons." Their conversation was interrupted by Darius entering with a female scientist. "Dr. Valentina Kozlov, our research director," he introduced, the woman's eyes fixed. Hungrily on Talon, fully developed Lumari. Telepath. Extraordinary. "We've only studied tissue samples before," Nadia stepped between them protectively. "He's not a research subject." "Of course not," Valentina smiled thinly. "But perhaps a consultant. We could offer protection, resources." Later, alone again, Talon pulled Nadia close. Their minds merged as their bodies pressed together, finding comfort in each other's presence. "We need to leave tomorrow," she whispered against his chest. "I don't trust them." His fingers traced patterns along her spine. "Where would we go?" "The Vex search for us. Your people want to study me." Nadia lifted her face to his, their lips nearly touching. "There must be somewhere in this vast universe where we can just ... be together," he asked both aloud and in her mind. Her answer came as both thought and action as she closed the distance between them. Hearts across stars, the betrayal came at dawn. Nadia woke to find Talon gone and her door locked from outside. Through their bond, she felt his panic. His struggle against sedation, as Valentina's team strapped him to an examination table 3 levels below. "Darius." She pounded on her door when her old friend finally appeared. "What have you done?" His eyes wouldn't meet hers. "Earth Command has been notified. They're sending a specialized containment team. He's sentient, not a specimen." She raged. "You know what they'll do to him?" "I know you've developed an unhealthy attachment," Darius countered. "The neural connection has compromised your judgment, Nadia. We can help you break it." She felt Talon's consciousness dimming as drugs flooded his system. Their bond, stretched thin, communicated one message. "Medical Bay, Level 6. Access code 27,490. Nadia feigned resignation. "I need time to process this. And medication, I haven't slept properly since we connected." Darius's features softened with misplaced sympathy. "I'll have something brought up." When the medical technician arrived, Freya Nakamura, according to her ID, Bajinadea was ready. "Please," she whispered urgently once they were alone. "There's an alien being held against his will on level 3. They're going to dissect him." Freya's eyes widened. "The blue humanoid?" "I administered his sedation under Dr. Kozlov's orders. I thought he was unconscious when he spoke in my mind." "He reached out to you." "Told me you would need help," Freya confirmed. "Said you were different, that you saw him as a person." Together, they formulated a plan. Freya's access card got Nadia to level 3, while the facility focused on preparations for Earth Command's arrival. She found Talon strapped to a table, neural probes inserted along his spine. Valentina stood nearby, recording data. "Fascinating resistance to our standard protocols," the scientist was saying, "increasing neural suppression by 30%. Nadia felt Talon's pain through their bond as the machines hummed louder. Something snapped inside her, a protective fury that surged through their connection. Without conscious thought, she channeled his telepathic ability. Focusing it into a concentrated burst, every electronic system in the laboratory shorted simultaneously. Darkness descended as emergency generators struggled to compensate. Moving by instinct in the faint glow of Talon's skin, Nadia freed him from the restraints. "How did you?" He managed weakly as she supported his weight. "We did it together," she explained. feeling their minds synchronizing more completely than ever before. Freya met them at the emergency shaft with supplies and directions to a maintenance shuttle. "It's barely space-worthy," she warned, "but it has enough range to reach the outer colonies." As alarms blared throughout the facility, Nadia and Talon shared one perfect moment of connection, his gratitude and affection flowing into her, her determination and devotion answering in kind. "I never thought I could feel this way about someone not of my kind," Talon admitted as they prepared for launch. Nadia's hand caressed his face, feeling the subtle electric current that always accompanied their touch. "Perhaps we're not so different where it matters." Their kiss deepened their telepathic bond exponentially, creating a feedback loop of sensation and emotion that transcended physical experience. For those precious moments before their escape, they existed as almost one being, sharing not just thoughts, but the very essence of their consciousness. "Whatever happens," Nadia whispered against his lips, "this connection was worth everything." The maintenance shuttle groaned as Nadia pushed its ancient engines beyond recommended parameters. Behind them, 3 Earth Command vessels followed in steady pursuit. Ahead lay the Perseus Nebula, vast cloud of ionized gas and cosmic debris that interfered with navigation systems. "We'll never outrun them," Nadia acknowledged, studying the tactical display. "And this ship won't survive combat." Talon placed his hand over hers on the control panel. "There is another option. The nebula, my people, use it as a sanctuary and passage. No outsider has successfully navigated it. Because it fries navigation systems," she pointed out. "We won't need them." His silver eyes held hers. "If we fully merge our consciousnesses, your pilot instincts and my knowledge of the safe corridors," the implications weren't lost on Nadia. "A complete neural merge. Is that even possible between our species?" "Theoretically, our connection is already stronger than any I've experienced." His mental voice carried both hope and concern. "But there are risks. Personalities can become entangled permanently." Warning shots from the lead pursuit vessel made the decision urgent. Nadia locked coordinates for the nebula's edge and engaged maximum thrust. "How do we begin?" Their foreheads touched as the shuttle plunged into the swirling clouds of purple and blue energy. Lightning-like discharges danced across their viewport as instruments. Failed in cascading alarms, Talon guided her through lowering mental barriers, their consciousnesses flowing together like tributary streams joining to form a river. Nadia gasped as her perception expanded, suddenly seeing energy currents invisible to human eyes. Feeling gravitational eddies that could guide or destroy their vessel, they moved as one entity. For hands working in perfect coordination, the shuttle danced through impossible gaps between energy storms, following paths that appeared solid to Nadia's newly enhanced perception. Behind them, the pursuit ships fired blindly into the nebula, unable to maintain sensor lock. Hours passed in a state of merged consciousness, until finally, they emerged from the nebula's far side. Before them hung a world unlike any Nadia had seen, crystal continents floating above violet oceans, illuminated by binary suns. "Lumeris," she whispered, the name coming from Talon's memories now integrated with her own. As they began separation of their merged minds, something remained connected, a permanent bridge between their consciousnesses. Emotions, sensations, and thoughts would never again be fully private between them. "The Elders will sense our bond," Talon said as they prepared for landing. "It's unprecedented between species. Will they accept me?" Nadia asked, suddenly uncertain. Earth was now forever closed to her, a defector who had chosen an alien over humanity. Talon's hand entwined with hers. "They will see what I see in you, a mind of extraordinary courage and compassion." The shuttle descended toward a crystal spire city rising from the floating continents. Hundreds of Lumor gathered to witness their arrival, their collective telepathic presence washing over the ship in a tide of curiosity and caution. As the landing gear touched down, Talon turned to Nadia. "Last chance to reconsider. The bond we've formed, it can never be broken now. 2 lives forever intertwined across stars and species." Nadia looked back toward the nebula that had forever cut her off from her former life, and forward to the alien world that awaited. Her decision had been made long ago, perhaps from that first telepathic contact on the asteroid. "Some connections," she said, taking his hand as the airlock prepared to open, "are worth crossing galaxies for." Together, they stepped out to face whatever future awaited them among the stars.